Yo, 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 yo. We are the Illibized Wise Guys. It's your boy Chad. Got my boy
QDZ for Sheezy, aka the Blunt Blacker Bloacher Blom, aka the Widow's Peak Bandit, aka Michael Gordon, aka Daddy Longlegs, aka the Naja Heartthrob. He's in the house. What it do, what it is, what it used to be.
Ooh, yo, I like what you just did there. Was that a freestyle?
No, that's all my nicknames, man.
Yo, you all can't have nicknames.
That's all my scamming names.
You gave yourself all them nicknames, huh? All I heard out of that whole thing was
self-proclaimed.
The only thing I heard out of that was the blunt is burning. I don't know why that's the one that stood out to me. What are you talking about?
The Blunt Blacker Bloacher Blom. What are you talking about?
Oh shit, my bad. Whatever the fuck that means. What does that even mean?
The Blunt Black. I'm black, brother. I'm black. That's what it means. I'm the black. I'm Blackie.
Michael Gordon.
Blackie Chan. I forgot. They call me Blackie Chan. The Blunt Blacker Bloacher Blom and Blackie Chan.
Michael Gordon. Shut the fuck up, man. This is over the top, man. Somebody got to tell you got to relax, man.
Hey, but the Widow's Peak Bandit. The Widow's Peak Bandit, y'all know that one. That was my first name, my blogger name, Widow's Peak Bandit.
I think you're just trying to make it hard for the cops when they come get you. Knock on wood. You know, you've known for all these aliases, so they can't pin you down. Is that what you're doing?
We're looking for a guy that goes by the name of the Widow's Peak Bandit. He walked out of a Denny's without paying.
Yo, shout out to all the scammers who have various nicknames in different cities. In one city they're known as Michael Gordon, the other one Widow's Peak Bandit, the other one the Blunts Blacker Blurn, whatever that meant.
I don't want to snitch on nobody. I'm not snitching on nobody.
But
remember we had our boy Alfred had he was like what did he call his name when he went to places?
What did he say?
Was it like damn, I forgot it. But remember we went to one party and they were like, oh my gosh, that's Giorgio. I think it was Giorgio. He's
that's
like,
what it was.
Gosh, that's Giorgio. We're like, yo, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, don't spill your drinks. But yeah, shout out to Alfred.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. This is episode 105. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate that. Listen, man, we had to take a little break. We out here making some plays, making some moves. You know what I'm saying? When life calls, you got to go answer the doorbell, right? I blame Q because it's his fault why we are late on this episode. So just blame Q. If you have any
brother, I need a vacation. Let's just be real. I need a vacation. I checked out Tampa Bay, the St. Petersburg area. Shout out to Ybor Street. That is one very ratchet street after 10 p.m. But I love ratchet. It kind of reminded me. I know a lot of people are going to be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But it kind of reminded me of Bourbon Street a little bit. Minus the like random gust of funk that you smell on Bourbon Street, but it gave me those vibes. So shout out to Tampa. That was a nice little vacation that I got to experience. I ate me a couple breakfast sandwiches. I loved it.
That's what's up, man. You gotta take care of yourself, man. I was in New York City a couple weeks ago, then I went to Miami 1 week later. Man, I was moving around despite the Delta variant being on my ass. You know what I'm saying? I was fighting. I was running a race against the Delta variant, bro. Like, and I think it caught me because I got a little sick when I came back. But I'm good though. I'm good now, man.
You got sick, and we doing this podcast. You got sick. You can spread that joint through this mic.
Hey, shut up, man.
With you? What's wrong with you, man?
Stop spreading false information. This is why when you put out
Dr. Fauci did say that.
Yo, this is why when you put up a post on Instagram and you use any word related to use any of those keywords, they put up an automatic. The CDC says go to their website if you want more information. That's for people like you.
Hey, man. Hey, listen. There is nothing wrong with a little bit of misinformation. It's what makes it keeps the ball rolling for America.
Yo, I must say,
spell USA without misinformation.
I must say that I have a couple more things to say, but that is an amazing segue into the first topic we have about DaBaby. But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into some misinformation that he may have been spreading on that Rolling Loud stage. Okay, but before yeah. No, you did that. I was just acknowledging what you did. All right.
Now so I threw an alley-oop. Okay,
you did. I'm a slam dunk it. But before we get to the first topic, let's pay some bills. Whatever the hell that means, because it's cool when people say that. If you're listening to this podcast for the first time, or not, make sure you're subscribed on our YouTube channel, man. It's very important that you are subscribed to Dream Vision Network. We have tons of content over there. We have bite sizes of this episode and in our podcast, just in case you don't want to check out the whole episode. But, you probably should anyway. Subscribe. Make sure you like the videos. Share it with your people. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and also Podchaser. It would mean a lot. And also, by the way, if you like our content, let us know, man. We want to make sure we're giving content that you guys would like. And so let us know on social media. Let us know in the comments. Send us a DM. Get in contact with us, man. We've really had topics that we try to incorporate from you guys. So it's really important that we know what you guys like. That way we can give you guys what you want. Go ahead, Q. What you about to say?
And let us know your ill-advised thoughts. I'm always down to hear what you guys got to say. Cuss me out. I am wrong from time to time. Not often, but I'm wrong from time to time. Let me know I'm wrong. Also, if you want to read, check out ratingsgamemusic.com. One of the hottest sites in America, according to FeedSpot. It's a top 50 site. It's doing very well. Check me out on Twitter, QDZ for Sheezy. I got some ill-advised thoughts on there. Thoughts, not dots. And check me out on Instagram. Just like you can check out Uche VA.
Yes, sir.
I have one picture on Instagram, but it's
all platforms.
Yeah, check us out on all platforms. I have one picture on Instagram. I wiped out my Instagram.
Yeah, wait, you did too? I did that too.
Oh, did you?
I swear to God, I did that like a couple weeks ago. I did that. Cool thing. Bro, like it's just like spring cleaning, man. Get rid of the. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, even though it's like summer, but it's so I call it summer cleaning, whatever. Like I just had to get rid of the junk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was like, nobody cares to see me in a picture with Charlemagne the God anymore. Like nobody cares that I went to Mexico 5 years ago. Like, why would you even care? You just want to see my face. So
right. But anyway, man. By the way, before we start the show, once more, I have to say this to Twitter: give us our account back.
Oh yes. Free
the wise guys. We've been in jail for the last 3 weeks. Listen, this is why we were late on the episode. We've been in jail. We've been spreading false information, apparently. And Twitter said, yo, we want your account. So right now we're in a fight to get our damn Twitter account back. So please, everybody at Twitter and tell them, yo, give us our account back. This is ridiculous, man. It's crazy,
guys. We deleted the nudes. My nudes is gone. It's no longer there.
Bro,
the schlong. We didn't think that you'll ban it over my schlong. But,
please don't say that again. Please.
Schlong?
You just said it. I said don't say it again, and you said it again. Jesus Christ. I can assure you, Twitter, we were not showing any man's schlong. But we are probably showing some ass from some ladies. I'm just letting you know. Is that worth a freaking getting banned these days? I thought that was legal. What happened?
We were showing some sort of genitalia. But it's been deleted. It has been deleted. It's like that. We just get us back, please.
Nah, for real though. Like I really don't want to create a whole nother account for our Twitter. And so Twitter, just give it back to us, man. Don't make me sign don't make me start a petition on change.org for free the wise guys. I'm telling you, I will do it if I have to. I don't want to though.
This is the first time I can honestly say I know how Donald Trump feels. I feel sorry for Donald Trump now. It makes sense. Why y'all deleting Twitter for no reason? Give us our account, but
bruh, come on, man. All right, man. Should we start the show?
I think so.
Yeah. Now back to that amazing segue that you had that I acknowledged. First topic on this episode is related to cancel culture, especially as it relates to hip hop, man. Like we've seen it. And by the way, I love this term, but I also hate it. If you're living under a rock, right? I have to say that because this is like the conversation that's dominating essentially America right now, at least American entertainment. DaBaby was recently at Rolling Loud as well as 500 other artists. But his is the one that got people talking because he had a crazy rant where he was trying to get the crowd involved. He said some crazy remarks about gay people. Actually, no. Let me back up. He said, if you don't have AIDS and HIV and all some of these other sexually transmitted diseases, put your lighter in the air. He said, yo, if you wasn't sucking dick in the parking lot, put your lighter in the air. Yo, he said some things that I guess offended people, and that has led him into hot water. And so let's have a conversation right now about a couple things, whether or not DaBaby was wrong, number one. Number two, how he's handled the situation since people have been down his on his head these days. And then three, should he apologize? Q, what do you think?
First and foremost, let me say this. That was a very bizarre rant. I mean, I didn't get it. It wasn't a freestyle. It was bizarre. First and foremost, I want to say this. He was flat out wrong. I don't care how you dice it, cut it. That was wrong. There was no need for him to, talk about, HIV and AIDS. There was no need. There was no need for it. I mean, I don't think people realize that these people that are living with HIV, that's a serious disease. Like AIDS, that's kind of like a death sentence. And a lot of people, they got it because of stuff that they didn't do. It could have been, they were born with it. It could have been needles that were shared. It could have been a sexual relationship that was perfectly fine, but one of the partners happened to have it. I just don't agree with that. That's just not fair. Secondly, I did read his apology. That was another bizarre apology, I would say, where he did apologize to the HIV community, the AIDS community, but then he kind of halfway apologized to the LGBTQ. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. To the gay community. Let me just say that gay and lesbian community. And then at the same time, he was kind of saying like, "You're not gonna stop me trying to bring a black man down. It's not gonna happen." So it was very bizarre, in my opinion. At the end of the day, I think, wrong is wrong, and we're entitled to be wrong. I think that, if DaBaby was misinformed, if DaBaby kind of was having a bad day and he went on a rant that was just, unreasonable, it happens. It happens. People have had bad days, but I just think that, sometimes you just got to apologize and keep it moving. I think that's what he should have did. I was in the heat of the moment. First thing that came to my mind was this: apologize, keep it moving. And I think a lot of times these guys get in trouble because they want to keep going. They want to keep, but y'all not gonna bring me down. I'm too competitive. No, just apologize and keep it going.
Very, very mature of you, sir. Not that I have an issue with that, because that's kind of where I want to start too, like on a maturity tip, which is, I saw his remarks, I heard it, I watched the video, and I just kept asking myself, why did he say that? Like, what was the point? Like, what was he trying to achieve? And then also, did he see a dude in the parking lot sucking dick? Like, it just seemed too like specific. It seemed too specific. Like, yeah, I'm thinking like maybe something happened earlier in the day, but regardless, you know how it is. The public has no context, including us. We have no context as to why he said what he said. And I know lack of context can really result in confusion, right? And so regardless of any of that, the fact that we have no context, his comments were irresponsible. They were unnecessary, and he was spreading false information, to be honest with you, specifically about the the AIDS and HIV thing. Like he said specifically, yo, like if you don't have any of them diseases that make you die in 2 to 3 weeks, that's not true.
Insane. That's insane.
That's just not true. Like
insane. I don't care. Be honest. Not even true. That's insensitive. It's wrong.
Insensitive. It's wrong. It's complete. He's not. There's nothing right about any of that. So we have to be very firm and say, like, yo, first and foremost, that's not true. Like, you need to go do some education if that's how you actually feel. But regardless of that, I think that the way DaBaby is moving is just it's kind of reckless in a way. Like nobody wants to really say this, but bro, what he is doing is no different than what Lil Nas X has been doing, which is kind of trolling in a way. Like,
no different? Nah, I mean, I wouldn't say no different. It's on the, ain't hurting nobody.
But, no, what I'm no. You're right, and I'm not talking about like I'm talking about like the response to controversy and how they're kind of using the fueling, like the energy of like the things that happen in real life, and then kind of like capitalizing off of it. That's really what I'm getting at, not like the hurtful shit that DaBaby is saying. You're right. That's important to note. But no, I'm just talking about like the trolling and the entertainment aspect. DaBaby is an entertainer, and I think what he's trying to do is double down on that fact. He's like, dude, like, why are y'all taking my words out of context? Like, I'm an entertainer. This is what DJs have been doing for years. They go to clubs and they say, yo, if your pussy smell like water, put your hands in the air. Like, people do that in the club, and it's ironic that they wanted to highlight that about DaBaby. I think he did make that point on like one of his IG lives or whatever. But the point is, regardless of the fact, he was wrong because them words was completely unnecessary to just be spreading false information, bro. Like, it's unnecessary. You're spreading false information. You're hurting an entire community of people who are affected by all types of shit. All for what? All for what? Just to say that you stand on your 2 feet and no weapon formed against you shall prosper, just so you can capitalize off it and make a music video in the height of all of the controversy. I think that DaBaby, he's already lost a couple deals, supposedly. There's some brand called Boohoo, man, which by the way, I never heard of, that he was in business with for clothes and stuff like that. And they came out and said, we're no longer working with DaBaby. We've seen artists that he's worked with, Dua Lipa, right? He got a couple pop songs with her. She came out and said, yo, like, this is not the artist that I recognize, and all of this other fucking political bullshit that, I'll be honest with you, I'm not rolling with.
Not necessarily a fan of that response by Dua Lipa.
I'm not rolling with it. I do think there is an element of people who are coming out of the woodworks who are taking a stand for maybe the wrong reasons and for political ties and political reasons. I think that's important to acknowledge. However, regardless of how people are responding, DaBaby was wrong. He was wrong. It's really no way to put that shit. Like, and I think he knows he's wrong. But I think the bottom line is he's trying to stand on his own 2 feet and say, listen, I am who I am. I don't have to like and agree with anything that these other communities do. Leave me alone. Like, we don't have to agree. Well, I mean, is that right or wrong? Like I want to have like a different convo about this cancel culture, not solely about what DaBaby said or how he's being kind of attacked for what he said, but more so about like, is it okay for there to be two different opinions, two different sides of the coin? Because we saw T.I. come out and really defend DaBaby. T.I. been gone since he's been accused of all of the shit that he's been accused of. I'm not gonna get into that. T.I. came out of the woodwork defending DaBaby. Lil Boosie came out. Lil Boosie's crazy. I want to acknowledge this. He came out of the woodwork, started attacking Lil Nas X and defending DaBaby, basically saying like, look, I don't have to be cool with the LGBTQ community and to basically agree with the lifestyle and how they view the world. Why are y'all combating what you perceive as hate with hate? Why can't we just be on two separate sides of the fence and believe what the hell we want to believe without y'all feeling like we gotta basically take you guys' side? is that right or wrong? I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to have a different combo with this. Like,
I see what you're saying. Well, let me. The reason why that's wrong is because at the end of the day, whether DaBaby likes it or not, he's an influencer, and so your words influence how people perceive things, how people take in information.
yeah.
You spread misinformation to millions of people that were watching that Rolling Loud concert, right? Some people are young teenagers that now, because think about when you were in high school, right? What a rapper said was kind of what the teenagers went with. They try to go with what they perceive as cool people, what the cool people are saying, like no cap, no kizzy, like they may take a stance against HIV and AIDS people, not really understanding because they're so young, not really understanding the dynamics of what it really is. So I do think there's a responsibility as an influencer that DaBaby is 100%. To be very careful in situations like that. And there has to be, in the end of the day, the gay, I keep saying that because is it LGBTQ? LGBTQ community are just kind of being like,
actually, I think you have to add a plus at the end.
Plus, okay.
To be honest with you, but hey, listen, we're all learning information in real time. Okay, like if we're wrong, please correct us. But yeah,
I'm learning.
No malintent there. But keep going.
So exactly. So to me, I think all they're doing is serving a purpose because that community for years have not been defended. That community have been taking their fair shots from pop culture from all angles. They've not been defended, and that's why I think it's a beautiful thing that they developed that group to help defend the name, the people that never got a chance to speak, never got a chance to, because this joint goes deep. There's people from that community that have been killed because they came out that were dealt. This is deeper than just like something that is I just said something, I was wrong about it. No, it's deep. But I want to kind of go backtrack a little bit, staying on the topic. But I think DaBaby, one thing that I can admire about DaBaby is that he came up as somebody that kind of defied the odds. He came up as somebody that was like, I'm gonna do things my way. And so as of recently, his logic, his way of moving has been tested, because what makes this even more significant is he had the unpopular take of going with Tory Lanez. Remember that whole situation with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion? He had that whole unpopular take of like, yo, like I'm a roll with it. Whatever it is what it is. I don't have nothing to do with that. He could have easily, stood up for the community of women which I'm sure he still does, but he could have stood up for that community of battered women and all that. But he's just had a string of, like, I think, unfortunate situations that has to do with his mentality of like, yo, I'm gonna do what I feel like doing. And I just think that as an influencer, it's a slippery slope for people like that, to be honest with you.
Oh man, that's an understatement. It's a slippery slope. I think it requires a lot of delicate tactics. You have to move lightly. You have to really be careful. I'll be honest. There's an element of me that 1000% respects DaBaby and anybody like him who stands their ground when they're being attacked and they're going against the grain, right? It's whether right or wrong, they're standing their ground and they refuse to be bullied into over apologizing, because in reality, DaBaby apologized. He did. He tweeted. He tweeted a couple times. He said, yo, listen, I had no intent. Like, I wasn't trying to offend y'all at all. Like, and so what do you want him to die? Like, what do y'all want at the end of the day? Like,
I don't look at him.
I think the problem with people, here's my problem with cancel culture and just in general is it's like, on one hand, usually when somebody's being canceled, it's based on a legitimate, or a relatively legitimate claim where like that person should apologize. They should acknowledge what they did wrong. However, even when they do apologize and say and acknowledge, okay, like, you guys are right, sometimes that's not enough. And it's like, what is it that y'all want? DaBaby came out and said already, I apologize. That's not my intent. What do y'all want from him? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, what is it that y'all want? You can't really control how somebody apologizes, in my opinion. Like, I believe personally, he didn't intend to offend, but your intent doesn't really matter when the result is the result, right? Like, I can run down the street and I can drive down the street right now and not intend to hit somebody, and I could kill them right while I'm driving. Knock on wood. The result of my action was a death, even though my intent did not match that, and I will still be held accountable for my action. Like, that's the element of a lot of life, and in this case, DaBaby as well. So I think it's important to acknowledge that, for him to acknowledge that he didn't intend to offend, while still like holding his ground and say, but y'all are not going to bully me into like doing more than this tweet as an apology. Like, I think that's fair, to be honest with you.
Which I think is fine. I mean, I hate to go deep. I don't want to go super deep, but I think, a lot of times rappers are looked at first and foremost as villainous, right?
Yes.
Particularly Black rappers are looked at as villainous. Like, that's the first thing that comes to your mind for a lot of people.
Well, they perpetuate it too. Let's be honest with you.
They perpetuate. I agree. I agree.
Like, this ain't like they ain't doing the shit to themselves as well.
I agree. 100% agree. And so I think DaBaby plays off this villainous character, right? And so at the end of the day, he's not going to get a lot of his fans back, at least not right now. But we have to remember something, like that he's not the first person to make comments like this. Let's be real. Like, it's ironic. I was driving down the street the other day. You know what song came on? Because a lot of times I like to listen to my music library. Sometimes I'm like, yo, I want to listen to the newest songs, and sometimes I just want to listen to every single song on my library. The first one of the songs that came on the other day was Eminem's "Kill You," where he's talking about he's going to rape his mom.
Don't get me started on Eminem.
He's going to kill my wife. He says all kinds of crazy ass stuff. And
by the way, Eminem has said worse than DaBaby ever said.
And Eminem has said worse, right?
Than any rapper ever.
I think it just goes to the whole art thing. Like, that is looked at as art. It's artistic. That's Eminem kind of letting people know this is he's not serious. It's art. Yeah. But then you want to use that for Eminem. But DaBaby, I think it was bad art at that. But it was him trying to do something as a art, as
entertainer,
as an entertainer. And so we pick and choose to be like, what's art and what's not art. Like I said, I think it's wrong.
I like the angle. I like no. Stay here. This is a great angle because
Eminem has gotten away for years being somebody that is talked about, and I don't think I actually think M's is art too. It's art. But Eminem has gotten away for years, rape wife, I'm gonna kill this serial killer. He's actually even talked about the gay community. He's done crazy stuff.
Yo, you know what I'm thinking right now? Sorry, not to like blatantly cut you off, but like you're making a really good, like you're setting the stage for a really good question that I think is a good question, but like, is it more digestible for people to hear insulting remarks over a song versus outside of a song? Because if we're being honest, like majority of the time, Eminem would go crazy and say all that crazy shit was over a song. He wasn't just saying it like on stage and saying it in interviews and shit. No, he was saying it through his music. And it kind of brings me back to even like, let's say Tory Lanez, right? He was in the midst of all that controversy. Then he drops an album full of, people think it's controversial content. I understand why, but he addressed the situation through his music, right? Versus talking about it. I think it made it a more digestible, you know what I'm saying? For people to kind of like, I think that if you're an artist, you're better off speaking through your music versus in person, because you can always just say, I have plausible deniability. This is art, guys. I'm an artist.
But
I should have the creativity to express myself through my music. This is my medium. This is my art.
And
right?
that's the irony. If we put DaBaby on the stand right now, the irony is that it was in between for him. It was like kind of music, but then it was like talking, but like it was like a performance of music. Like it was in between. So I think, you know, I'm not, like I said, I don't see DaBaby any different. I still listen to DaBaby songs. You know what? Real quick before we get to the next topic, I just want to tell you, in the history of hip hop music, in my music library, there's only a few people that I can say I legitimately canceled. Right? I can no longer listen to R. Kelly.
Can't do it.
The music, what he's talking about in his music, I just keep thinking about, you know, his allegations and all that stuff. I can't get past it. It's just too weird for me. And I loved R. Kelly growing up. And then I canceled Tekashi. I just can't listen to his stuff. It literally, I can't listen to Tekashi anymore. I have to change it. Those are the two in my music library that I legitimately canceled. I can't listen to anymore. Those two.
I'm not mad at that list. I don't really have one readily available, but you're right. I don't listen to either one of them dudes no more. And,
I can't.
And to me, it's I would say it's harder to cancel an R. Kelly because he clearly makes more incredible music than a Tekashi. It's easy for me to cancel Tekashi. I don't need to listen to
Tekashi's music. I didn't really love it to begin with.
It's easy.
So like, I was like,
that's easy.
Couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
That's an easy cancellation, man.
I don't care about the snitching or whatever he did. He snitched, whatever.
It's more. It's more believability, and that's kind of like the sick part about us fans. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a damn how much our podcast elevates. At the end of the day, I'm a fan of music. All right, I'm a fan of music.
Me too.
And so at the end of the day, there's an element of believability when it comes to rap. We have to acknowledge that.
I agree.
It's a gift and a curse. And maybe that's a good segue into the next topic without going on a deep dive. You know, Lupe Fiasco and Royce the 5'9" kind of sparked off like a quick little back and forth. You know what I'm saying? They and by the way, I didn't know any of this. They had a podcast together. Apparently they had never met in person, but they had a virtual podcast, kind of like what you and I do. And Lupe had some. Well, you know what? I don't know how it started, so let me not speculate. But what I'll give you guys the facts. The facts of the matter is Royce the 5'9" dropped I don't want to say a diss song, but he dropped a rap song displaying his ability to rap, because apparently they both were questioning who was the better lyricist, the better rapper. Royce the 5'9" kicked it off. He dropped his. It was terribly mixed. He was going crazy though. You know how Royce is God MC level. Just calling it what it is. Royce is an incredible rapper. And we all know how we feel about Lupe. Like, Lupe is one of my favorite rappers ever. Like, ever. It's not even close. Lupe is in my top 3 rappers of all time. Favorite rappers. That's how I feel. And so with that being said, Lupe dropped his response, taking more of a personal shot at Royce than Royce did to Lupe. And so with that being said, there were a lot of mixed feelings as to who won that first round, right? I saw a lot of people saying Royce did his thing and he clearly beat Lupe, and how Lupe didn't show what he could do, and he took a more playful, more personal jabs at Royce. And so that led me and you to also talk about Nas and Jay-Z and how some of people have felt about those battles over time. And the question that we have to you guys is like, how do you judge rap beef? How do you judge who wins in a rap battle? You know, is it really cut and dry? Is it really black and white? Or is there like some gray area that we need to discuss? So, you know, with that being said, you know, Q, what do you think, man? What do you think about, like, in terms of like how do you judge rap battles?
So I judge it differently, first and foremost. I've never been the type of person, what do we call it? Hype beast, whatever you want to call it. The type of person that, you know, whatever everybody else thought, or the insult, the jab that was the most disrespectful won the battle. So I already have unpopular takes on several beefs just because of that. Because I don't think the hardest hitting jab is what necessarily makes you a winner. Like, to me, I judge it by precision, effectiveness, thoughtfulness. And so with the Lupe and Royce thing that I thought was pretty interesting was that, Royce da 5'9" song was better. Royce da 5'9's rapping was better. Royce da 5'9 left that song accomplishing what he wanted to accomplish, and that was to prove that he is a better rapper than I think he thinks he is. He accomplished that. I thought Lupe's was more personal. Lupe took more shots, but I don't think Lupe necessarily left that song convincing anybody that he was a better rapper than Royce da 5'9". He just left that song taking shots at Royce da 5'9". So what's the beef about, right? So if you really look at what the beef's about, Royce da 5'9" won that because what they were talking about was who was the better rapper. Royce da 5'9" showed flows that were ridiculous, showed wordplay that was amazing, punchlines. He proved it. So just like with the Jay-Z and Nas situation, I think that with that particular beef, that was about bosses versus boss versus boss. That was about like, yo, I am better than you, and I'm going to prove to you why. And I thought that more than Nas did, Jay-Z proved on Takeover with lines such as one hot album every 10-year average. He talked about a line about like you wearing a kufi, you spitting, is it Uchi Wally Wally, or is it one mic? Is it a black girl lost or shorty owe you for ice? Like the hypocrisy of Nas's music. I thought he was the precision that Jay-Z showed on the 2 diss records towards Nas was amazing. And that was the point, to show like why I'm better than you. I thought Nas, he did that to a certain extent on Ether, but it was more so like jabs, like, Tybo Ho, 36 in karate class.
Yeah.
Y'all rock hoes. We rock hoes. Y'all rock fellas.
Talking about you look like a camel.
You look like a camel. Whiskers like a cat compared to Beans. You whack. Beans is not better than Jay-Z. Like, come on, stop it.
He didn't believe that either.
Saying was facts. Like, yeah, you did make one mic, and yeah, you did talk about Uchi Wally. Like, so, I just see it differently. I see it more so on what are you trying to accomplish, and I don't know.
And look, I respect that. And people stand on either side of the fence here. Like, it is what it is. It's gonna be a fucking forever debate, right? And so, with that being said, I'll give you that. For me personally, I tend to fall more on the lines of on the other side of the fence. I'm be honest with you, more so than often, because even when it comes to the Lupe and Royce battle, right? I understand all the points that you're making. Oh, like they're just rapping. They're just going back and forth. They're trying to prove who's the better rapper. I get it. However, what I appreciate about what Lupe did in that battle is he took it upon himself to interject personality, interject like precision in the other sense, which is like, let me get super personal on this dude, and when I'm gonna say some crazy shit that's gonna be very insulting, like, let's spice it up a bit. Let's get some personality and flair into this song, because when you're trying to entertain the audience, when you're trying to make a point, we're not about to sit here and get sidetracked by those things that Lupe obviously did. His rapping was very good. Lupe is a great rapper. Like, this is not a debate.
I love Lupe.
So I think that, like, we're not having a decision. In my opinion, the conversation about Lupe and Royce was not about who was a better rapper to me. Like, I think they're both phenomenal. Like, this to me is about, you guys are going back and forth. Okay, cool. Who can out charm? Who can outperform? And I don't just mean technical rapping, because I think that's where people get lost. I'm not the person that's about to sit here and applaud somebody just because they're technically sound. This is the reason why I don't historically appreciate and maybe put enough respect on somebody like Eminem's name, because while he can display the most amazing technical performance he can do, go and do that. You know what's missing with Eminem a lot of times? It's the other intangible stuff, the things that you can't really measure. You actually have to really be about that life and really understand like the art of the music to really judge it. And I believe personally that that's what Lupe was attacking. That's what Lupe was trying to do, was, I'm gonna give you all the intangible shit that, Royce, you never accomplished. He literally said on the song, he was like, yo, Royce, like, he said, your music was never impactful. I think he got a point. Like, while I respect Royce's penmanship, it's amazing. Historically, I believe when we're talking about, when we're really getting into this discussion, Royce's music was not as impactful as Lupe's. And there's a reason for that. It's not because Royce is a significantly less rapper. No, it has nothing to do with your rapping ability. It's about the intangibles, the flair. How personable can you be? How interesting can you be in the music? That was the point that I think that gets unnoticed in rap battles, that people need to start paying attention more. So when we transition that into Nas, Jay-Z, all the points that you made is very valid. Precision, the boss talk, the let's get specific. However, that's not really all that important all the time in a rap battle. Sometimes you actually have to interject flair, fun, perform, be a entertainer. That is the missing piece. And I believe that's actually what Nas did on Ether. And I think historically, that's why people have said Nas won that, was because he entertained. I'll give you another example. Drake versus Meek. It's obvious to me Drake is a better rapper. We're not going to debate that. Actually, I would argue like it's not even close who's a better rapper between Drake and Meek. Fair. However, Drake entertained on back-to-back. He entertained. I think that is missing, Pete. That's the thing that people don't talk enough about, is the entertainment aspect of a back and forth beat. Whoever is the most entertaining will usually win.
But you know, I want to say, but that's that to me. So, like I said, first and foremost, I want to reiterate. You didn't say this, but I want to reiterate. That's why I said I judge them differently than your average person. I want to reiterate. So you're not wrong at all. But I personally believe that's what's wrong with rap battles a lot of times. A lot of times people don't even give the other person a chance, because at the end of the day, Drake has more flair, because Drake is just, that's why Drake's the bigger artist than Meek. He has more flair than Meek. So he's going to win in that department. If Drake it does put more pressure, I will say that. But Drake, there's a reason he's Drake, and like there's a reason Eminem is Eminem. He's gonna win just because Eminem has more flair in battles. But I do wish, because hip hop disses are like game sevens in NBA finals. They are amazing. They are great. They are dissected to a certain level. They are the most viewed songs, especially when it's between two big artists. I bet you Royce da 5'9" and Lupe's diss records were the most viewed songs they've ever had. If close to they ever had, or the most viewed songs they've had, one of the most viewed songs they probably had.
I don't know about for Lupe, but definitely Royce. I'm be honest with you.
You know, it was.
Listen, I love and respect Royce's artistry. He's actually gotten so much better over time. But if we're calling a spade,
no, I get it.
People don't be checking for Royce.
I get it. I agree.
People don't be checking for Royce.
But my point, but you see, that's what I'm saying.
You probably should though.
Like, hip hop. I think we already get enough of the like foolery going on. We already get enough of the like wrestling aspects of hip hop. When it gets to two god level MCs, I want to hear the most precision. I don't want to hear a Kitty Jabs performance. I want to hear precision. I want to hear effectiveness. I want to hear facts. And like in that particular battle, Royce the 5'9" wasn't necessarily spitting facts. He was just rapping.
He was just rapping.
He was just rapping.
That's it.
But that's why I think that beef was a little disconnected, because I think Lupe was madder than Royce the 5'9".
1000%.
So
he was more
I heard
upset.
Royce respond actually to Lupe's, but Lupe's was way more heinous. But to me, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
One of my favorite of all time, one of my favorite disses of all time is Second Round Knockout by Cannabis. That a diss towards LL Cool J was fantastic, but people are going to say he lost the beef. And I think there's a difference between who had a better diss record and who lost the beef. Jay-Z, in my opinion, had the better diss records, but Nas won the beef. Eminem versus Machine Gun Kelly. Maybe Machine Gun Kelly actually had the better diss record and won the beef. We can argue that, but I think
objectively, because most people are going to be like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Machine Gun Kelly never did anything better than Eminem, you know right? I mean? There's going to be people like that.
You know, so it's sometimes like 50 Cent. I thought had the better diss records and won the beef, but my point is, you could have a better diss record, but then somebody else can win the beef. Like I even remember the Joyner Lucas versus Tory Lanez when they were going back and forth. I actually thought Joyner Lucas had the better diss records, but Tory Lanez won the beef because he was just had more flair. So
you're making my point. You're making my point though. That's the point I'm making though. Is that like that's the importance of you said earlier, you said like kitty. Like I wouldn't call it's nothing about kitty behavior. It's about flair, bro. It's about your performance. That's what I'm getting at. When I say flair, I mean when I said performance earlier, I'm talking about the flair. How entertaining you can actually perform on the song. That is very important in a rap battle. And in majority of the time, that means more. I don't care about your rapidy rap shit, bro.
I mean, it means more to your
entertain me.
It means more in terms of, like I said, the beef. If you guys don't like each other, it means more like, oh yeah, I won the beef. I put you in your place. Okay, you did accomplish that. But I do think that we can't just like sit back and, because for me, the problem that I have with beef, real quick, the problem I have with the diss record situation is that people only say, oh, Ether was fire. Ether, Nas won, Ether. Takeover was 5 stars. That Amazing. Was a great song.
That was a song.
2 was a great song. And yes, I said Blueprint 2. There's a song called Blueprint 2 that's a diss record on Blueprint 2. That was a great song. Like, who cares whoever won the beef, whatever. Those were 2 great diss records. But it always gets pushed aside because they're just like, oh, Nas won that beef. All we care about is Ether. Takeover, you can argue. Takeover is a better overall song than Ether. It is.
It's not argue. No, that's a fact. That's a fact. It's not even close.
So I don't know.
That's why it's weird. We want to know from you guys though. Like, you know, you and Q and I, we can go back and forth on this, you know, for days. We want to know what you guys think though. Like, how do you judge rap battles? How do you judge who wins? What is your criteria? Let us know in the comments, you know, let us know on social media. I think that's a good segue, man. Let's move to the next topic, bro.
Yes, sir. Next topic: mental health in the music industry. So I brought this topic up. I wanted to talk about it because right now in the news, Simone Biles, you know, the GOAT gymnast that they call her, right now she's going through a little mental health battle where, well, that's what they called it. She actually said that she has something called the twisties, where her mind and her body are not in sync with one another. So it kind of scares you, you know, as a gymnast when you're flipping in the air and you're not confident in your landing. That's what she said. So it had me thinking, with all the pressure, it's been a back and forth, right? It's been a back and forth. Some people are like, you know, I feel very proud of you that you came out and said that you couldn't do this. And then there is some people that are saying, you know, we're raising a generation of quitters, where we can't have people coming to the Olympics and just quitting on us. Like, that's not acceptable. It's been like 2 sides of the fence. And it made me think about, like, mental health as a whole, especially in the music industry, the hip hop industry. There are several different ways that you can talk about this, so I'm gonna let you start it off and just kind of see what angle you want to go from a mental health standpoint in hip hop.
Man, yeah, like you said, man, there's so many different conversations, so many different, angles, really conversations that I would say are just starting to be had. I think we're just starting to crack the surface publicly of the impact of mental health, and like how like that can be very detrimental to your productivity, to your well-being, your entire life, really. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think anyone is exempt from dealing with emotional issues that can impact your life. We all need to acknowledge that. And so with that being said, that's, it's crazy to me how, people can, they can lament somebody like a Simone Biles, or even let's go a different route, a different sport. The tennis player, man, what's her name, man? The one that's dating Cordae.
Naomi Osaka.
There you go. Thank you. Naomi Osaka, same thing, right? She's regarded as the best player in women's tennis. She knocked off Serena Williams, I believe, a few times, if I'm not mistaken. Like, she is she's the one right now. And she had the courage. I'll say courage. I use that word very intentionally. She had the courage to come out and say, listen, man, I know I'm the best, but my mind is not at its best right now. And therefore, I don't want to play. And you see what the world does, man. I think the world is very insensitive. They're like, how could you not entertain us? Everything is about me, me, me. But what about her? She's the one going out there and has to deal with everything, right? And so if her mind is not right, how the hell could she go out there and perform at her best? It's very courageous. I'll be honest with you. We need to start calling it what it is. It's a courageous move. It's not some sucker move. It's not you being weak. It's not you being, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's not good. It's none of that. It's, I'm self-care. I'm looking out for myself. You do the same, because you probably should. Right. And so with that being said, we've seen artists in the music industry deal with that type of shit all the time, especially more recently. I know you more so than me have problems with Logic. Logic, quote unquote, retired, I believe, last year, right? He had a whole Twitch stream where he said, yo, I want to thank Kendrick Lamar. I want to thank J. Cole. I want to thank Drake. Like they were in my life so much. And
he did.
I just want to thank them all because they changed my life. He did all of that, right? As a farewell speech to say, yo, listen, I'm done with this. But really, if you paid attention, the reason why he said he wanted to quit was because he said, yo, the people who were naysayers were starting to get to him. He said, yo, my mental health is starting to be affected by the comments and the environment that has like infiltrated my creativity is no longer like a healthy one. I'm going to take some time to raise my son. I'm going to take some time to do what I need to do and go pivot. He did that for as long as he probably could, I suppose. Then he comes back and drops a whole fucking new album, Bobby Tarantino 3, which I haven't heard. I'm hearing good reviews though. I'm hearing people like it. I'll be the judge though when I hear it. The point is not whether or not his album was good or not. The point is that he decided, I am not mentally right to drop music. Therefore, I need to take a step back. I don't have to like his music to respect that move. I don't. I think that we actually need to give people a little bit more grace than we've been accustomed to, man. Like, we don't know how it's like to live in their shoes. We don't know how it's like to be on that side of the fence. We say, what we say all day, every day, what we would do if we were that person. But until you're that person, you actually don't know what the hell you're talking about. People be like, yo, why is Nicki Minaj so sensitive? Or why is she always why is Cardi B always going at a fan's neck? Why? Man, she's Cardi B. She got all the money. She got this, she got that. Okay, cool. but you're not her, so you don't actually know how that feels until you're that person. And so I just think overall we need to give people a little bit more grace. But I believe you would be completely insensitive and just inconsiderate if you don't acknowledge the mental health aspect that a musician or just a creative or just your everyday person has to go through in order to do the shit that they love and what they do for a living. We just need to start acknowledging this as people, man. Like it affects us in more ways than I think we are willing to admit sometimes. And that's really what I have to say, man. Like we can go back and forth on this, but at the end of the day, stop judging people, bro. Like, because it's unnecessary. If you were in their shoes, you may be going through the same shit. You just would.
Nah, just when you said stop judging people, it just kind of sounded like, you're like, stop judging people. It kind of sounded like, when I don't know if you remember Teen Summit, and like it was a show on BT and they let the kids talk like, drugs ain't cool, man. Drugs ain't cool, bro. Like, stop.
Yo, that's my PSA, man. You see how I got real PSA on these motherfuckers?
Like, weed ain't good, bro. But anyway, I agree. I 100% agree. It just made me laugh. But first and foremost, I want to say two things before I get to the music aspect. Anybody who has something to say about Naomi Osaka or particularly Simone Biles, it doesn't matter what you think. Those are two of the nicest people you would ever meet in your world, like in this world, or not even meet, just see. Like, Naomi Osaka is sweet, super sweet person, super nice, super respectful. She gives back. She represents both Japan and America the best way any single person can represent their countries. You shouldn't have nothing to say about that person. Simone Biles, somebody that, she's been great in interviews. She's been somebody that represents America, and America that's been fractured for so many months now in a way that I think is so respectful and proud. So it doesn't matter. Even if she has her slip ups, you got to let that slide, because these are good people. And then number two, what I want to also say is that we have to remember that those of us that have good mental spaces are lucky. A good mental space is not given to you. That is not something that is guaranteed. So those of us that can sit here and say, oh, I would have never done what Simone Biles did, I would have never done what Naomi Osaka did, you should be thankful. You should be thanking God right now that you have that type of mental space, because not a lot of people have that. We need to start acting like a good mental space is a luxury. It's not something that's guaranteed or something that you're supposed to have. So those are two things I want to say. In terms of hip hop with Logic, I'm not the biggest Logic fan. You know that. I think that he swagger jacks way too much. That's a conversation for another story.
1000%.
But I've noticed Logic has upped the ante when it comes to talking about his mental health. He's been talking about his mental health quite some time now, for 2-3 albums now. He brings up that, the naysayers are getting to him, like you said. He also talks about how, like, some days he thinks about suicide. And, I think it's actually courageous. That's a word that you use that I love. It's courageous of him to do that. I think all the stuff that hip hop and just musicians have to go through on a daily basis, they are technically being vulnerable. They are giving you their lives in their music. Could you imagine if you put out anything, your best work, and you're guaranteed at least 1 million comments saying that's trash, dislike it, even deeper, darker comments like, you need to retire, you need to die, things like that. They see that on a daily basis, and I think that's what's so crazy, is that they're getting numb to it. Like DaBaby right now, I'm scared. I feel for DaBaby, because though we talk about, like, he was wrong, and I agree, but like the level of heinousness, I mean, DaBaby right now is losing endorsements. He has Madonna Elton
John
speaking out against him.
It's
Has
unbelievable.
To have some type of, and then on top of that, like DaBaby is dealing with, tragedies in his family that he's talking about. Like that's tough. And I think that, in a society, it'll never happen. But I do think that we need to be a little more gentle with people. It's never going to happen. But
we need to have compassion, man.
We need to have compassion.
We need to have grace and compassion. That shit don't make you weak, man.
And I think that
it's a superpower to grant that type of shit to other people.
I think, and that's, I want to give the opportunity to give ourselves pats on the back. One thing that shout out Spaceboy Uno, I really love the compliment. He said, "You guys just keep it strictly at music. Like, you guys don't go and talk about all this personal life stuff, and that's purposeful. We keep it strictly at music. We keep it strictly about, like, okay, is this person skilled? Like, did I like the album? But it's never really personal attacks. You know what I mean? We do that purposefully because it's like, yo, what's the point? Number 1,000%. What's the point of going after somebody like that?
We don't know them. We don't know them. Shout out to Spaceboy Uno for that comment. I believe he said that in one of our comments. Yeah,
I love that. And as somebody, listen, I'm a writer on Ratings Game Music. I've heard it all. The very first comment I've ever received on my blog was, "Your blog is trash, and so is this site." Or sorry, he said the Kanye album review I did was trash. And he said, "So is this site." That was the very first comment I've ever gotten. I've been called "you're stupid." I've been called "you don't know what you're doing, quit your job," whatever, blah, 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 blah. I heard it all. And so I just, seeing it from both sides of the fence, I just think the common denominator that needs to happen is compassion, like you said. So I thought it was interesting.
It is. And actually, as a couple more case studies, very briefly, that I want to bring up in music, specifically hip hop, we've seen Big Sean deal with mental health issues, more recently. He's been very open about that. And I try not to kind of like presume that somebody's going through shit until they actually acknowledge it themselves. Cause like, who am I to say, yo, man, this person's going through shit? No, you when you're ready, you'll tell me. Big Sean told the world, I wanted to kill myself. On his last album, Detroit 2, he expressed all of that. He expressed how he got through it. I would say Wale is another case study. Maybe not from a suicidal standpoint, but we've seen how mental health, at least being in your head for various reasons, can impact the output of your music and how the music is received, right? Wale went from a very promising artist, right? Like very eclectic, very thoughtful, unique. Let's just call it what it is. Wale is a very unique rapper. Like it's very hard to compare Wale to anybody. And so with that being said, that dude been going through all types of shit mentally, as far as like, hit the perception of his music, how to create. To me, that was what I noticed. He's been very expressive on Twitter, talking about what he's been going through. He's one of them dudes who doesn't like hold up as well or let up as well. My point is, Wale been going through mental shit too.
Yeah.
I mean, anxiety. He's talked about anxiety. He's talked about all types of stuff.
I mean, every rappers talk. I mean, I've heard even DaBaby talks about it, like on his last album. I mean, PTSD, G Herbo, he talks about like growing in the hood, how he got numb. Like, I think we just kind of like gloss over it. Dirk talks about it all the time.
Bro, these dudes be screaming out for help. They scream out for help, and we dancing to the shit because we think it's just strictly music. But
over it,
the music is a reflection of reality, not the other way around.
We gloss over it like it's just like, yo, like, and I think that, sometimes these situations like Simone Biles should teach you that it's real. Like, mental health is real. Like, some of these people are going through certain things. And so, I just find it interesting. And I think that's something that should be brought to light.
Yeah, it should. We should talk about that more. We should, maybe we should, I don't know how we incorporate that more into our content. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll try to get creative with it. But no, it is a conversation that needs to be had a little bit more, I believe. I do.
Yes. Next topic. We're going to light it up a little bit because that got dark a little bit. Didn't it? Like 3 straight dark.
You know what I mean?
Fun with it.
Yeah.
Isaiah Rashad, TDE's Isaiah Rashad, no relation to Ahmad Rashad, if I'm not mistaken.
You don't know that.
The House is Burning album dropped, which I think a lot of people on the internet are saying that this is the potential album of the year. His first album since the Sun. What is it?
Sun's Tirade.
Sun's Tirade, which I thought was
phenomenal album.
Interesting album. So what do you think about the album? What are some of your takeaways from it?
Well, look, okay, I'm glad you asked me because first and foremost, this was like the first album that I did some live tweeting to, right? So I listened to the album, and I'm going through yeah, man, thank you. So I'm going through the album in real time and I'm really like digesting the music. And what I can tell you is this. First impressions for this album, The House is Burning by Isaiah Rashad, it really gave me the sense that Isaiah Rashad is growing musically, because on previous projects from him, he had a very, what I would call, cohesive sound, right? His sound was very album-esque. When we talk about TDE, I really can think of a name like Kendrick, but when I say Kendrick, I mean like first album Kendrick, second album Kendrick, To Pimp a Butterfly, like where every song seemed kind of cohesive and a part of a story. I would say that is how I perceived Isaiah Rashad's last few projects, to be quite honest with you. And when it comes to this new album, I saw some standouts. I saw some joints that really like were outside of the box from his, when I'm really comparing it to what he's been putting out. You got the joint with Lil Uzi Vert from The Garden. And while that song didn't tell me that Isaiah Rashad is trying to be somebody else, I did see growth in terms of like maybe his sound being a little bit more bigger and a little bit more global than I even anticipated. I saw a couple of different R&B joints that, with SZA in Black, that maybe can have a little bit more fans come to his side, come to his world. You know what I'm saying? That's really the takeaway that I have with this album, is that Isaiah Rashad has created this world, this atmosphere of his sound. And he's brought people into his world. And I think that there's a couple songs on here that really can get people who are not part of his world to have an easy introduction to come back to his other stuff. One of the better songs on this album that I thought, man, this is going to be a joint that I'm going to be playing for years. I already know. It's Headshots. Like, Headshots to me is the epitome, and it really embodies what Isaiah Rashad has done his entire career, which is compose like incredibly thought-provoking, weird, unorthodox music, but it's done in a way that's so artistic that it can really it can last. It's one of those music that just kind of stands on its own, which really doesn't have any time limit. I give him that, because not every artist is even capable of that, right? We hear too many artists these days that make music of the time, right? And it gets dated. As soon as the sound changes, as soon as the shift of today's music changes, they are no longer going to be relevant because they're not creative enough to create art that stands on its own. I think I'll give Isaiah Rashad that credit. He's able to do that very well. And so with that being said, this is not the best Isaiah Rashad album that I've heard. The Sun's Tirade, to me, as a body of work, is much better than this. However, I believe this album was a great mix of, again, like I said before, songs that stand out, that are not just that easily identifiable for Isaiah Rashad, and then songs that really stuck true to himself while still growing artistically. I thought that he did his thing on this. I mean, it's not, again, if I give this a grade, I'm giving this a B. A B album. And by the way, one of the things that pissed me off about this album was J-Rock's verse on that one song was trash.
I didn't like
trash.
I didn't like that song.
Like what was that about? Like that was very bizarre to me. How
was he I think he was the only TDE person on there. Oh, SZA.
No, SZA.
Schoolboy. There was a song with him and Schoolboy Q that came out that I thought was pretty tight. Like
it came out, but it wasn't on the album though.
Yeah, it wasn't on the album. I thought that was pretty weird. Go ahead.
Just the last thing, I want to say shout out to Shmino because Shmino did his thing. I really like that his performance on Claymore. That was dope. I never heard of a bunch of the artists on this album. For example, Amindi.
Yeah,
I liked the addition of the vocals that she brought to the table on All Herb. That was pretty dope. Like it was a dope little collab, And then also the song What You Said.
I know,
bro. That was that was kind of dope. Like I believe it was I am Dochi. She kind of snapped on that. If I know,
kind of snapped. She kind of
snapped on it. She slid.
She gave me more advanced Coi Leroy vibes.
That's a good way to put it. But no, overall though, good project. It's not great. I give it a B. What'd you think?
I agree. I give it a B. You know what is funny? It's funny and kind of frustrating and kind of annoying. And by the way, I'm going to preface my comments like Stephen A. Smith always says. I'm going to preface my comments. Everything I'm about to say may sound like an insult to you or to Isaiah Rashad, like I'm insulting him. I am not insulting him. I am just pointing things out that I actually think he somehow, some way makes not bad. It'll make sense when I tell you what I'm about to say. So what I find very funny and kind of frustrating is that I think TDE is one of those groups that before you even hit play on an album by them, you automatically say it's good. It's almost like you force yourself to say that something that they dropped is good before you even hit play on it. And I think that that's what a lot of people did for this Isaiah Rashad album. I think to a certain extent, if Isaiah Rashad kind of dropped the ball on the album, there were still going to be people that were saying, you got to sit on it. You got to make sure you sit on it. Or people are going to say, oh, you know what? No, it's just that it's not your type of music. It's my type of music. I think TDE gets away with that a lot of times. Same thing with Dreamville. I said Dream Vision. Dreamville gets away with that.
Dream Vision doesn't do that.
But while other groups don't necessarily get that luxury, you know what I mean? Like if Rich the Kid and Jay Critch, you automatically assume it's trash. You're gonna be like, oh, it's Rich the Kid's label. Oh, Jay Critch, it gotta be trash because it's Rich the Kid. TDE gets the luxury of us being like, it's probably good because it's TDE, and so you kind of come to an album with that mindset. I think Isaiah Rashad's album is good. I wouldn't say it's great. I think it's a little overhyped, a little bit. But what I will say about the album is this. I think that first and foremost, the instrumentation on the album is fantastic. I think he was able to like garner up these old school hip hop feels with some therapeutic elements, while at the same time he was able to turn it up a notch in production on songs like From the Garden, on songs like What You Said. I really like that aspect. And then also his content. It was refreshing hearing him, at the same time while he was bragging, it was kind of like talking about his come up story and just, letting people know once again who he is, because outside of his music, you don't really know who this guy is. He kind of lets you know on these songs, so it's kind of fun to try to figure out from track to track. Oh, that's who Isaiah Rashad is. Now, I'm going to ask you this question because I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't. Is he a good rapper? I mean, I get it. He's a competent rapper. He's competent. But I think at times, a lot of times, he sounds dull. He sounds a little, dare I say, boring. He sounds a little incoherent. But he does it in such a good way that you he gets a pass because he just does it so he's tastefully boring. He's tastefully dull. And what I said, sorry, I'm going to say this. What I said on my review, which you check it out, Ratings Game Music, over 2,000 views on it or whatever.
Yeah, go check that out, guys.
Check it out. What I said on the review was, he sometimes in hip hop beats ask you not to do too much. Isaiah Rashad is the type of person that doesn't do too much on beats. So, like I said, I think he puts up a great performance overall music-wise. I think the vibes of this album are fantastic. A+ when it comes to vibes. A+ when it comes to instrumentation. But when you talk about rap performance, was it considered that good?
Okay, look. Here's what I'll say. I see you tap dancing like the late great Gregory Hines right now. Weird. You tap dancing, bro.
It's weird.
I'm mad. I have to reference Gregory Hines. Like, yo, there should be a new age person who tap dances. Like, I should be able to reference like somebody who's a young person who tap dances. But whatever.
Lil Uzi tap dance or something.
Yo, there should be a lil somebody that tap dances right now.
Tappy.
Lil Tappy. Little tap. But no, I think you're tap dancing, but you're doing it, I think, in a good way. Because look, to ask the question, is he a good rapper? That's not the right question, in my opinion. He's a good rapper. The question is, how good of a rapper is Isaiah Rashad? He's met in my opinion, he met the good rapper benchmark a long time ago. He's clearly a good rapper.
He's a good rapper. I take that back.
He's clearly, it's not even debatable.
I was asking the question. I think he's actually a good rapper, but I can see somebody saying they don't necessarily think he's good. I think you should think outside of the box with him.
I got you. So here's what I'll say about Isaiah Rashad. Like, he is an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Period. He is an acquired taste. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm not saying that as it's not, because it's not an insult.
I'm not
no
insult.
And you know what's funny? Listen, I'll give you credit. On the last episode, we were talking about albums of the year, and I believe you said something about how this year has been. You said something like this year has been underwhelming, but it's more so been about albums that are acquired taste. Like, a lot of people have dropped albums that are just acquired taste. This album falls right in line with that mentality. Like, Isaiah Rashad is a good rapper. Now it's about, do you rock with him enough to really understand his potential? Because I'll be honest with you, artistically, he is next level when it comes to his ability to put together storylines, just his storytelling ability, put together different themes, different sound effects. The dude is an interesting guy. Like, I don't know him, never spoke to him, never had a convo. He's an interesting guy. Does it always come out the right way over his songs? Probably not. I'll give you an example. He dropped that song. He on the album, he has a song called Chad, right? I think that's the most like boring version of Isaiah Rashad that I just don't want to hear. Like, there's nothing compelling about the song. Like, he's not interesting on the song. I believe it's a little bit boring. As a matter of fact, if the song comes on, I'm going to switch it because I don't want to hear it. But if you're asking me to evaluate him as a rapper, like metaphors, cadence, flow, he's going to check a lot of boxes because he does that majority of the time.
I mean, I think
he does.
He uses, like, I'm trying to tell you right now, guys, that was one of the hardest albums I've ever had to rate. It was one of the hardest. I didn't look at anybody's opinion, by the way. I looked at nobody's. It was one of the hardest because I left it like, I don't know how I feel. Like, everything I'm supposed to like about a rapper, like, he doesn't do. I disagree with cadence and things like that. I think he has a good feel for the beat and he kind of listens to what the beat wants. But like I said, like he has. Think about what you said. Very slurry deliveries, very erratic, very boring at times. But like he does it so tastefully. Like you add tastefully to anything and it works. Like, oh, tastefully trash and
tastefully trash,
tastefully boring. I mean that in the nicest way possible. The most tastefully boring. And a person that I think is another tastefully boring rapper is Currency. Currency, to me, his deliveries are slurry, he's slow, he's like, to me, I don't enjoy necessarily him rapping, but then at the same time, he does it so tastefully, you got to respect it. And I think this is more of a respect thing for Isaiah Rashad for me than it is an enjoyable thing for me. Because I don't personally find the album enjoyable. Like, to me, Lil Uzi Vert, Future, that's enjoyable. Like, that's enjoyable music. It's like J. Cole is enjoyable. Punchline. You know, this is not necessarily enjoyable, but it's respectful.
I want to say something because two things. One, put it like this. I think what you're describing, I understand it when you say boring. I get it. However, I wouldn't use the word boring because this reminds me of like on the last episode where we were talking to Beers and Bars, shout out to OT and Kamal. And I believe you said something about something being a
album filler.
That's what it was. Yeah. You were saying album filler versus like an album cut or whatever. Like there's a certain connotation when you say boring. What I will say is what I'm hearing from you is just his music is not that energetic. It's not that enjoyable. And therefore for you, it sounds like because they don't have those certain things, you're bored. But in all reality, this shit is relative as hell. Because there's people who might say the same thing about Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is a little bit boring.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Right?
But he's an explosive rapper, though. He's an explosive rapper. When he raps,
so is Isaiah Rashad. You get Isaiah Rashad on From the Garden with Uzi, explosive.
Yes, he's explosive on that.
You get him on 9-3 freestyle, explosive.
Yes, he is.
Bro has different elements to his artistry. Like it's a mix. It's all relative here. Like it's how do you what kind of music you want to wake up to today? What kind of music you feel like listening to today? That it's like, if I want energy, am I going to listen to Isaiah Rashad? Absolutely not. Do I want to be in my thoughts? Do I want to hear some compelling ideas, interesting composition, the way people put together music? I might listen to this album. It really just depends. I'm not listening to this joint ever if I'm going out to the club and I want to get hype. Like, it's not happening. It's boring in that respect.
You want to listen to the album when you're in your thoughts? Dog, like, what the hell? You don't want to do. Why would you want to do that?
Yo, first and foremost.
Thoughts or thoughts?
Yo, listen, first and foremost, I have no thoughts. And secondly, if I did have thoughts,
hey, this is
he got a couple R&B joints that on the album that might hit under the sheets. You feel me? Come on.
Hey, this is a rated R show, dog. Chill. No, I get it.
But do you understand what I'm saying? You understand?
I get exactly what you're saying. You're saying it's an acquired taste. I agree with that. But I mean, I just think that that's something that should be brought up. I mean, I always like with this show, like what I love doing is just, I don't want you guys to just automatically say something is good. We want to know why it's good.
Oh,
and I don't think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people take the time to be like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, for instance, the Avengers, you have things blowing up. You got action scenes, fighting scenes, 3D animation, blah, 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 blah. You compare that to a movie like Godfather. I'm sure like Godfather moves very slow, 3 hours. Not a lot happens, or like The Shining, right? The Shining moves very slow. There's not many action going on. There's not crazy music. They're both equally as good to me. One might be very hard to sit through, like The Shining is almost 3 hours and it's just a lot of nothing happening. Then one is more explosive.
You know what this reminds me of? You're right. But
Isaiah Rashad is more the Godfather than it is the Avengers, and I think people need to look at it that way.
Well, in addition, though, and this is the last thing I'll say on Isaiah Rashad. It's clear to me that his artistry and the type of music he makes and everything that we just said, you said, I said, is not conducive to him being a household name. It's not. Because at the end of the day, being a household name is not the end all be all. Some people just, it's not for them. Like, I'm not even saying that should be the goal, but what I'm just calling a spade a spade. Like, being a household name requires you to expand your sound and do things that maybe will extend his artistry. It requires you to be a little bit more energetic. It requires you to be a little bit more open and just kind of fun with it. The music that Isaiah Rashad makes is not conducive to him ever being a household name. And I'm not saying that's a problem. That's fine.
And that's a good
It's point. Fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I 157% agree with that. And like, I just think that, like I said, we need to, let's figure out why we like these stuff and like break it down. And like, we got to see certain angles, because I don't want to be, let's not be a hypocrite, because when we see Soulja Boy's next album and he starts to slow it down and he starts to get more dull and boring, don't be like, this was a boring album. Recognize, I want to use that tasteful. That is the word right there. He did it so tastefully that you can't call it just boring. Call it tastefully boring.
Hey man, listen, at that, but see, that's why the people have us. All right, we're here to break down the music and on different levels. We're here to tell you why music was tastefully trash. Okay, it's okay to be tastefully trash. I would rather you be tastefully trash than just trash. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
At least I can call you tasteful. That's a compliment, right?
Hey, like I said, you can call me tastefully anything. Tastefully savage, tastefully sicko.
Call me you can call me tastefully ugly. You can say, yo, you're tastefully ugly. You're tastefully short. You're tastefully
misinformed.
You're tastefully broke. Yo, it's like
tastefully canceled. Go ahead, whatever.
Tastefully canceled. Yo, on that note, man, I think we reached the end of the show. Thank you guys for rocking with us. If you reached it this far, man, listen, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Subscribe on every podcast platform you guys are listening to this on, man. Listen, episode 105 is in the books, but we're gonna have another one for you guys very shortly. If you have an episode topic, get in contact with us on social media, send us an email, do whatever you need to do. And we'll think about it, guys. We may think about getting you guys on the show. As a guest host, we're looking for people to come on the show and politic with and chop it up about why music is tastefully trash. Hey, man, keep listening to the show and keep rocking with us, because we rock with y'all. On that note, I think we reached the end of the show, Q. What do you think? You got any last thoughts?
Actually, you think we could do another 10 minutes? I was thinking about it.
Oh boy.
Well, actually, no, I'll tell you offline, but yeah, whatever. Until next time, let's go.
Yeah, on that note, as always, if you're giving advice, make sure that motherfucker is tastefully ill.
Yes, sir. Peace out.